Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of I Am. I Am is a Catholic podcast in the Catholic Bishops' Conference in Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. Here on I Am, we share on the coming Sunday's Gospel every week. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Our Gospel for this week is taken from John chapter 15, verses 1 to 8. Jesus said to his disciples, I am the true vine and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that bears no fruit he cuts away, and every branch that does bear fruit he prunes to make it bear even more. You are clean already by means of the word that I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I in you. As a branch cannot bear fruit all by itself unless it remains part of the vine, neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me, with me in him, bears fruit in plenty. For cut off from me you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a branch and withers. These branches are collected and thrown on the fire and are burnt. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for whatever you please, and you will get it. It is to the glory of my Father that you should bear much fruit and be my disciples. The Gospel of the Lord. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of I Am. You all may have noticed for the last 3 to 4 weeks that we have not uploaded episodes of the podcast. That is simply because of the Holy Week and the Easter Triduum and the Easter celebrations, and also partly because I have been busy with other projects. But we are back and we will continue to produce content on this podcast for you all. Now in this week's Gospel, it speaks of so many things. There are a lot of messages that are hidden in plain sight that Jesus gives us in this week's Gospel. The more popular one that stands out to all of us is that Jesus tells us that apart from Him, we cannot do anything, but with Him, we can do many things. Or in the analogy that He uses, apart from Him, we can bear no fruit, but with Him, we can bear fruit. Now, when Jesus speaks about this, He is referring to our life. Jesus tells us in another part of the Gospels that He has come so that we may have life and have life to the full. This is one of the promises that Jesus gives to us for those who believe in Him, who believe in His words and follow Him and His words. So when Jesus says, apart from me, you can bear no fruit, He means apart from Him, living apart from Him and apart from His words, not following Him and following His words. Our lives ultimately will not be as glorious and lived to the full as it was intended to be, or as Jesus can make it. And this is tied together with what St. Thomas Aquinas teaches us, which is also reflected in the Catholic Catechism. And it is that we exist as a result of the proof of God's glory. Our very existence is proof of the glory of God. So if you ever have any problems with wondering what your purpose in life is, you need not think far than to see the fundamental purpose for your life, which is that you exist simply as proof of God's glory. Because of God's greatness and because of God's omniscience, you exist. Without your existence, God would not be God. God could not qualify to be God. God has and had to prove His glory, and thereby He created all things. So, in order for us to fully glorify God, God has created us in such a way that when our life is lived to the full, it will glorify Him. So without living our lives to the full and unlocking the full potential of our lives, we cannot glorify God with our lives. So in order to glorify God with our lives, we need to follow Jesus. We need to listen to His words and follow Him and His words. And God even says this at the scene of the transfiguration of Jesus, where God tells the 3 apostles that were with Jesus that this is my beloved Son, listen to Him. So God requires us to listen to Jesus, and by listening to Jesus and His words and following Jesus and His words, as Jesus tells us in this Gospel, the result is that we will live our lives to the full. Our lives become full and we will bear much fruit. Our lives become full, or as Jesus states in this Gospel, we will bear much fruit. And in doing so, in bearing much fruit in our lives, in living our lives to the full, in showing the fullness of our lives, we simultaneously glorify God. Now, there is an important thing to note here. That is not to say that we go running after glory in this life, that we go running after secular forms of glory or glory founded in material things. No, Jesus clearly clarifies here that by means of his word that he has spoken to us, we are made clean. And he further says, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for whatever you please and you will get it. Here Jesus is telling us that in order for us to bear fruit, we must be made clean by his word. And what does that mean? It means we must follow his words. We must follow his teachings. The teachings of Jesus and of God are not restrictions on our lives to prevent us from living life to the full and experiencing life to the full. That is actually a distortion of what living life to the full actually means. Living life to the full doesn't mean experiencing as much experience as you can in this life, experiencing as much pleasure in this life as you can. No, living life to the full means having your life bear much fruit. And to really say that your life matters and bears much fruit, your life should improve the lives of other people. Your life should be the hands and feet and heart of Jesus in the lives of other people. Your life should comfort other people. Your life should help other people. Your life, as Jesus says, should be like a candle that is placed on a table or on a shelf, on the top of a shelf. Your life should be a light to people. And as the Bible tells us, people should look at you and glorify God because of you. And what happens when we don't follow Jesus and his words? Jesus says our lives will not amount to what they can truly amount to. Our lives will not be lived to the full. We will always fall short of the true experience of life, of the ultimate experience of life. And more so, God will cut you off. What does this mean? It means your life will not be lived to the full. Your life will be a life of suffering, a life without peace, a life without joy. Now, the atheists have a problem with this teaching. Atheists would often say that this is a selfish God who has created us in such a way that we cannot be happy outside of him or without him. But that is the wrong way to see God and to see how God is, because we come from God. God created us as a part of him. We are an image of him. So whether we like it or not, we are tied to him. We are part of him. And therefore, we cannot find our fullness and we cannot live our fullness and we cannot be our fullness outside and away from God. Because we are a part of him. We are his image. Through our baptism, we have been made his sons. We have been made a part of the body of his beloved son, Jesus. So this is the message of Jesus to us in this week's gospel, that if you think you know what living life to the full means, what a full experience of life really is, outside of him and his words, you are gravely mistaken. For Jesus tells us here that he has come so that we may have life to the full, and the way that we may have life to the full is to follow him and to follow his words, to live by his ways and to live in his words. Yes, the world, through the efforts of the devil and the demons, may tell us otherwise, may present to us many things that promise a great experience of life. But as we all know from experience, these promises let us down eventually. These promises always let us down. They never fulfill us. They never fulfill our desires, our deepest desires in our hearts and our minds. And they leave us feeling empty and dead inside. But with Jesus and his words, we simply come alive. With that, everyone, that is our sharing for this week's gospel. I hope that it has helped you in some way. May you all stay blessed, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. We hope you enjoyed that episode of I Am. It was our pleasure to bring you this sharing on this week's gospel. If you'd like to hear more of this podcast, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you'd like to see other good Catholic content, feel free to scroll through our videos. And be sure to like this video and share it with your friends and family whom you think could benefit from this episode. Thank you everyone, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.